So yeah, beginner's guide. Let me preface this playthrough for you. I'm straight up playing this out of like a combination of like peer pressure and trust, I guess. Um, I I did not like the Stanley Parable. Um, I found it to be tedious and difficult to get through, and I found its themes to be handled less well than the same themes in BioShock, which is kind of saying a lot. But I figure an hour and a half is not a lot of my time. And I figure that this isn't just my channel, right? It's your channel too. You want to watch me play stuff. You're curious about my feelings about games. And sometimes you can have a game experience you don't like, and you can still talk about it in an interesting way. And I have friends, I have subscribers, I have followers, I have Twitter acquaintances. People have told me that they think that it would be interesting to watch me play this game. Now, hopefully they're not all just trolling me together, but I'm curious. I'm curious to try it out. And that is enough for me to get into the game. To give it a shot. So, we're gonna play through it all the way, I guess. I don't know if it's a game that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. I don't know really anything about it, but I'm gonna try it out. And then after that, we'll play Undertale. Sound good to everybody? Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, well let's get it started, shall we? Boot up the old Steam library here. I do not know really anything about the content of this game. So if you're watching this, maybe pause, Alt-Tab, do a quick Google search if you're concerned about potential upsetting content stuff, because that's real. That's cool and real. I don't know anything about the game. I can't do that for you. I can't protect you. So let's hope that I don't need to protect myself. I think it'll be fine. Where are you? There it is, beginner's guide. Okay. Okay. So this is the beginner's guide. We're just gonna play it start to finish. I'm not gonna break. I'll talk about it while I play. I might pause a couple of times to talk about specific stuff, but I have nothing planned for this stream really. Like, I'm just gonna play it and we'll talk about it. I'm curious. My curiosity is driving me through this game. So let's give it a shot. Yeah, I got it. Left click, WASD.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Wreden. I wrote the Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Kota. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Kota in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Kota learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, And instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Kota's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Kota starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Kota. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Kota's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Okay. Lot of preamble, which, okay, fine, you gotta set the story. It's the opening crawl. We're looking at your friends' games. Cool. All right. Oh boy.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Kota.
Objects blocking my path. So the voiceover thing is interesting because I feel like it's something that's I would consider sort of optional. Like, I feel like he's gonna interpret the game for us. Oh, I'm out of ammo. All right. But hopefully that's not how it goes. Hopefully it's just like explanation rather than, or hopefully it's just explaining why the game is here and things about the game rather than telling us how to interpret it. I guess we'll see. Okay.
Security hull breached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
Go through this.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets.
It's true, I can't.
But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Kota thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force
There we go.
begin.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Yeah. God, I would be so embarrassed if someone took all of my half-finished games and, like, gave them to the internet. God, that would make me so annoyed. You don't release games for a reason.
Apparently the space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it. Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could
Yeah, you
track
just throw
it
yourself into the beam.
in a heat signature. If you...
Your
you
body
allow us
could
to
stop the beam. Alright, let's do it.
It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, yourself?
It's a video game. It's not a real choice. Nothing actually bad will happen to me.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Kota had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Oh, fly out through the universe. Cool. I'm going to heaven.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Kota identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions.
So that's cool. I mean, fucking
Let's go
up.
ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
I'm trying to talk. Yeah, fucking up can inspire game design, for sure. That's real. So is that what I was supposed to take away from that? I feel like the voiceover was...
In this game, you can only walk backwards.
I feel like the voiceover was stretching pretty hard on the, like, it was a big transcendent moment. But I get that, like, making mistakes or finding unknown elements of game design can help you understand things that you want to create or do in games. Music's playing backwards, got a little braid thing going on here. The future could not be seen.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused,
Why
more
does the future
complete.
keep changing? Yeah, so
Kota's
this
trying to
feels
give
like
it
a thing.
unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
She stops and looks. It becomes clearer. Okay. Sure. But the future is always behind her. How will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Yeah, that would have gotten tedious with any amount of length. Okay, so I can only go ahead on the road, and I can only just see the road. You are now entering...
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Kota would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him.
Yeah, and then you
And I don't agree with
resurrected
that at
and
all,
gave
but
it to
what are you
everybody.
gonna
Oh, God, it's such... Wow. Like, here's my friend. My friend makes games, and my friend abandons these games because he's done with them. And I don't agree with that, so here's his games. Like, obviously they talked about it because you can't just steal somebody's stuff, but like, oh boy. God, I'd be pissed. I don't know how this... I would like to know how this person... I'd really like to know how this person like got Kota to agree to this, because I would not be okay with that personally. Like, I've got a ton of like tabletop designs that I was like, this is shit. I'm gonna throw it away.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Kota's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all?
If you're not showing the game to
Well,
anyone,
to
why
show
make the
you, I'm
game?
modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
I don't know, maybe Kota isn't a person. Maybe Kota is him. What does Kota mean in Latin? Like start over, or... Yeah. Bunch of game ideas.
A
Or in
room that's
music.
warm and nice.
Yeah.
And filled
I don't
with
know.
little
Whatever. Maybe it
ideas
doesn't mean
for
anything.
games.
Oh my god.
Kota would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant.
And
He
Kota
said
is
that
like
he knew
conclusion
he
and
was
also sounds like
actually a vibrant
coder.
and
Okay.
compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Okay, whatever. I'm not interested in reading these. I mean, okay, let's take a look at them. Or not. Okay, never mind. Ready, set, fish. Ooh.
Well,
That's
this is
cool.
new for Kota. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
The room is dark. Dark as fuck, but I can kind of go into the side areas. Can I close the door from inside? Like airlock myself in here? Yeah, there we go.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon.
There's those three. We've seen
We're
this
gonna see
three
it.
dots thing. Or we've seen this three dots thing on the wall. I've seen that before.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Whoa. Some squiggles and the implication of an eternal amount of
How about that?
squiggling.
There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player.
There's
So
something-
if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
There's something to be said. I'm gonna just pause for a second. There's something to be said for what he just said there. If you don't know what you're missing, how do you know you're missing it? Right? Basically, it's like it's not your role to know. And there's something that parallels there between the unreleased game, right? If you never knew a game was created, if it was never released, you would never play it. You'd never know it was around.
Aha! So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Kota believes his games are connected somehow.
Is that what it tells
Could even
us?
be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
The Great and Lovely Descent. I like Descent too. It was sweet. Alright, a little greenish white space.
Let's talk about
I
video
like this
game
environment.
development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Okay.
To make all of these games, Kota is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Kota's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. the tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making.
Yeah.
You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Kota's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Okay. Linear boxy corridors. The streetwise fool. Get to that door. No, okay, I can. Cool. Alternate universe under the coffee shop, restaurant. That's cool. It's a neat looking environment. Can I get down from here? Yeah, there we go. Okay, whatever. We're just gonna fall, evidently. Oh, it just funnels you down to the bottom anyway. Oh, okay. Alright, cool. I like the little staircase. So it looks like a empty, like, cattle pen, I guess. Some weird audio things happening. It's like a prison, I guess. Something. Oh, into your cell. You don't have a choice.
This prison, funny enough, in Kota's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that. This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
I mean, I agree with that. I think that games, like, playable is it's a totally debatable term, just like whether something is a game or not, right? Like, it's a little, not ironic, I guess, but it's a little, like, on the nose, having a game that has been, I'm sure, decried as not being a game, talk about whether it's a game or not. There's that face again. 3 dots sigil.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Kota is going to return to it over and over.
It's a metaphor.
I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
It's a metaphor. You gotta close the doors behind you to continue forward. That's how I'd interpret it anyway. Like, you can't move forward if you don't, like, I don't know, shut things behind you and move on. It's the airlock, right? Our first NPCs, perhaps?
Here, Kota begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Okay. So they're listening. Yes, there was a world stamped with whiteness. There was an enormous prison I spent hours in. I like that one. It's the world above. You've been there. It's important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Prefer not to tell you. After all, we've only just met. What? But you don't understand. We're trapped here. The puzzles are only escape. We need to get through it. You think you want to get through, but trust me, you don't. Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get there. Do you understand? It's the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you, there's nothing I want more. I don't get to say anything? Okay, alright. I guess later. So some different people. Hello, how'd you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? No, I've been right here this entire time. I guess you should go see the puzzle sometime. It's not meant to be solved, but you can sit in the black space in the middle. Who are you? Let's go hang out in the blackness for a bit. It'll grow on you eventually. Alright. Well, I can't go back, so.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Apartment complex. Or
It's a lamppost.
hotel.
Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Kota fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long.
I'm feeling weird about this description. Like, I feel a little strange listening to the designer talk about his friend Kota. It feels to me like a person describing the behavior of like an autistic person and being like, I don't know, I don't understand. Let's try to undo the puzzle that is this person. It feels strange. I'm very curious to see where that goes. I'm waiting for like a twist or something at the end where it's like, oh, I'm talking about myself, or it was, I don't know.
Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something.
How do you know that?
He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're gonna see it in the work as well. His games are just gonna become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Okay. I trust you. I trust you, game. This game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by other players. I wonder if that's true. Nice room. Not.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not
Yeah,
connected
okay.
to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Kota. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic.
Okay.
But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
So a creator makes a game and then adds critical content about it. Whoa, holy shit.
Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness.
Well, yeah,
I see
because
this
a lot of
person
them are
who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Kota often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Kota's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Define fun. Okay, yeah, like some Dark Souls-esque elements in this. What the shit, this cavern. It's cool looking. Butt ass butt. I can't leave the. I can't walk off the edge. Can I get out to those areas? I probably have to go in and around. Okay. Makes game includes door, cannot open door. Thanks. Help you because the integral good feeling I get. New room. I'd very much like to be desired. So some of these feel like actual comments, and some of them are just like this is essentially a like a game as diary, right? Okay. I feel like these aren't adding to my experience so much. Like I wanna see them because I'm waiting for something that gives me some insight. They seem to be a pretty even mix of stuff like that, like emotionally intense content, and then random sort of internet style like trolly nonsense. Okay. Sure, like I kind of get it. Whoever made this had issues. Who are all of you? It's about how things look messy up close and perfect from far away. Yeah, it just looks like dots. Art. Stop faking it. So a person walking there and now won't come back. It's about how this game is pretentious and you all suck. Stop pretending you're other people. There's a couple that say Devil Tower Star. Feels a bit like reading teenagers' poetry.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Kota's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
Right. And there's a little face.
In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Kota can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on. And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
Yeah, I don't like the narrators. I'm curious to find out the truth. Like, I don't trust the narrator because it can't be... That's really loud. How do you leave notes? Meta. He can't be certain of any of the things that he's saying.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Porn stars die too. Like a weird, kind of futuristic looking, strange, fancy apartment type of a thing. Kind of reminds me of the building in Deus Ex. Or no, Ex Machina.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Kota gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets,
Oh, I'm in
turn
the
it
well
into something
now.
else.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
What But furniture ought to go in the center of the room. Put a giant hole in the ground. The table. Okay. Now what about the... What? I don't... 10 stoves. Okay, none of these choices matter, because you can't do anything about them. Put live Tesla coils in each corner. Yeah. A lamp. Okay, alright. Table, you need a table. For sure, none of my choices are making any difference. It's kind of...
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
Yeah. That was maybe the most interesting thing that's happened in the game so far, though. I like the,
Okay,
the
he throws it out and
extruded...
starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Hello, please walk forward. When you're asking please, I don't have a choice. This guide will enable you to escape any prison environment. Take care, you remember each step. First, click on the table. Photo frame, and click it. Table, frame, lamp on off. Table, frame, lamp on off. Table, frame, lamp on off. Move the couch, touch the shelves. So you just kind of go around the room. Okay. Where's the shelves? Where's the escape? Open. To the start to be taken back to your prison. Return. Let's see if it worked.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside.
So there are a bunch of experiments with the same environment.
I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this. To see a person basically unraveling through their work.
He's so judgy.
And for what?
It's
Like,
experimenting.
go,
It doesn't feel like unraveling to
ideas
me.
Other than this prison that I could be working on. But Kota doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
I've played so many first-person shooters, I keep holding shift trying to run. Yeah, he really sounds like he's talking about an autistic child. Like, look at all the strange art he's made. It really gives us insight into how his mind works. I mean, I'm not saying Kota's a real person. This could all just be made up, but it's the attitude that feels like strange to me. Alright, we're in a phone booth and we can't move. It's me. I'm you from after you escaped the prison.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Kota wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows.
I mean, is it?
But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Kota talking to himself.
I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to think the narrator's a douche. Ooh, excuse me.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice? So what would it look like if Kota wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
Those bullet holes? Some chrome object in the side of the room. Alright.
To me, this environment is meant to represent Kota's puzzle, with the 2 doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Well, my goodness, I'm glad as all heck that you showed up. I thought I might have to clean this entire house by myself, and right miserable that would have been. Everyone knows the lonesome hands make lousy homes.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Could you please clear the table? Done. Run into the bedroom, make the bed. Okay, I have a quest now. Now it feels like a game. It's fine. It's different. Nothing needs cleaning. Be careful, because that means it's everything. Places, see a bit of peace. The pillows on this couch are wrecked. Can you come on, straighten them out? Incredibly cheesy person inside. You okay with that? Oh, make it especially cheesy. No. It was stupid. Sorry. Those dishes need to be washed. You come do that. Tub needs cleaning. Okay. Scrub the tub. The books on the floor of the bedroom. I was over here before. Trying to do that. Alright, put them on the shelf. Perfect. Clear these dishes off the
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's
now
the
it's
moment
all
after a
looping.
difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful. I know that Kota really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was, like, grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Ask me to clear the table again. Yeah. Alright, so there's like this recursive having to clean. The pillows on the couch are a mess.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace. But,
Do you
of
enjoy
course,
this?
it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Okay, alright. The whole game feels like an analogy.
Doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move.
Like an analogy for someone with mental health issues, like all the cleaning obsessiveness and like the analyzing of the character. Items you love, members only prices. Why did you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? To make relationships more meaningful? No. You came here to become perfect. Workshop is going to teach you how to become perfect. I want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am. Right now, who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you know that is so well developed as a person they make you feel disgusted with yourself, compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful, and to make you into that person? Perfection is within your grasp. The question is not how we do it, but how we do it effortlessly. This is easy. It is so easy. It is so easy.
About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts.
Being perfect is effortless. On the way to work, I told an elderly person to start contributing to society.
Suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Now, if it isn't effortless, it's not the right answer. If you're torturing yourself to find the right solutions, you're not doing it right. Do you understand you won't be happy till you love me? This is for you. Ah, just kidding. Holy shit, you guys, something is coming out of the back of the room. Look out. Nothing. No one.
I felt pretty hard for this one.
Perfection.
I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days.
Sure.
This one took a lot longer than all the others for Kota to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one.
It's a nice photo.
That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this. And it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Okay, so I recognize this. This is from the... I've seen this in the trailer. The little, like, bouncing off the things on this stage. Alright. Oh, we got lights. Alright, the performance is beginning. Places, please. In this scene, you'll be playing as me. We are gathering our professionals. First, you'll start out leaning against the wall. Yes, good. Stay right there. The woman across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. It's your chance to learn something from her, to gain something, to succeed. Go on, say something to her. Hello. Hello? That's it? It's not a conversation. Just converse with her, be a human being. Do it again. Here, all of my hopes and dreams. That's not what I said to her at all. Okay. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason. So I don't have the choice to pick the things that the director wants me to say. You better feel the setting. There are a lot of people around. I'll give you plots to work with. The cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people nearby. Talk to her again. You must have worked really hard to get where you are. Messing it all up again. Forget how the conversation gets personal that quickly. There's writing on this. I want to try something. Try stepping back from the stage. Oh, okay. So there's that lamppost again, signaling what? The narrator said an end? A goal? Alright, so it's closed. I feel like I have, like wooden clogs on. Alright, so I can only step away into the darkness. Okay, yes, now this is working. This is what it was like.
Premonition of what's going to happen next in Kota's life. The solution, social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Kota is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Kota's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Kota went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Mobius trip. To play this game properly, you must keep your eyes closed. Click to begin the game. Oh god. Alright. Sounds cool. Some fantasy shit going on. I hear fire. I don't know what to do or click. I'm gonna have to cheat and open my eyes. Maybe there's nothing on the screen. This is an ironic part to stream, because you can see what I am not allowed to see. How long do I tough out not opening my eyes? Let's give it another 10 seconds. Oh, there it is. Okay, did I die? Yeah, I died. Or something.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
Okay. Help, I'm blind. Oh, everyone is blind but me. And we're trying not to crash into the thing. Find the shields. Let's get the fuck out of here. Don't let this be forever. The only way to stop it is to speak something that is honest. Can't keep making these. Yes, that's it. That's the truth.
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Kota where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way. His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
What is this? It is a tree. Though, is anyone there? These don't feel like they were made, like, over time. They feel like they were made all together. Is that a person. Lovely. A long time since I talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost. Completely out of ideas. Like the weird music though. That's cool. Can I go? Oh no. Did something change? I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me to start it again. What? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. What? Take you to it. There's a problem. It's guarded by a difficult puzzle.
About his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11.
Let me solve the puzzle. We'll find the machine.
In my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for? Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with.
You have to open the door. So this one's kind of white, where the other one was black. Now you have to close the first door. What's next? I just press the switch here. Oh, that was so simple.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
The game to them is simple and joyous, and you love it 100% of the time. Alright, making games is effortless. Oh, that feels wonderful. Why do I feel so awful when I said that? Because it's a lie. The creation is what? It is easy. It never stops being easy. Yes, there were these floating colored blocks.
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like video games are not worth this amount of suffering. This is someone I really cared about, and I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing. I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop. But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Kota takes another 7 months
Yeah,
and comes up
me.
with a new game.
The machine. Yeah, these all feel so obviously strung together. Like, they're not separate games. They're all made together. Ma'am, glad to see you arrived safely. We've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. So they call me ma'am. So that's interesting. I intend to be quick. Very good. Someone called the press. We might have a bit of attention on this one. Calls itself Kota. Press. What will be done with the machine? How did you capture it? What can you tell us? Nothing.
And of course, it's the machine.
So there's the 3 dots again. So now I'm a character in Kota's games. People out there, can you imagine the pain you've put them through? It was only because of your creations, anyways can make it through. People out there, can you imagine the pain you've put them through? You have to admit to the people you allowed them to suffer. Carefully, I know how to hurt you. Yeah, I'm curious about that, because there was that woman crying before, who I guess was supposed to be the character, and you're like giving up on games, and so it's like hurting them, and now I'm being referred to as ma'am, so the character is a woman. And then I'll speak to them for you. And Kota is a man. Kota's a man, so... Okay. My followers. I have a troubling revelation. The machine refuses to admit it deliberately hurt us. Thanks for the re-up, giant nun. We will find a way to live without it. We do not need its games. Let us show that we are not failures. Follow me, we will destroy the machine. And then we're back out in... Okay. So I got a gun and I'm in an empty room. Cool. Oh, I can bust up the stage and background, whatever you. Oh, that's cool. Who doesn't love destructible environments in games? Yeah, alright.
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Kota's stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation.
Yeah, or it might be totally not what he wants.
As I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Kota to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Yeah, we're wrecking up the joint. We're destroying... Oh, there we go.
So I started showing Kota's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games.
And I'm a complete asshole, a boundary-violating asshole.
They genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Except being exposed. Sarzu Killer, thank you. Hope you're enjoying the playthrough. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Alright, so the machine is in the prison. Put down your weapon. Alright, the machine. I can't move or do anything but shoot.
See why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need. To be told that my work is good. That I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend.
My experience is the same as everyone else's experience.
I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend.
What I
who was in
like,
trouble,
everyone
and was
else has
unhappy
to like.
and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When he
Narrator,
told me
you're
how
an
much he
asshole.
enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy, so beautifully, beautifully happy.
Yeah, here we go. Here comes
So
the big
anyway,
flip.
Kota finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Kota's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Kota ever made. So let's
Interesting
take a
choice
look.
of language. The last game they ever made before. But at the beginning, the narrator said that they wanted Kota to feel good about having their games out in the world. So I assume that it's not going to be like, and then Kota committed suicide. Because...
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Kota's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game. This room actually has a maze in it. Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze. And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just clean the
So
house
I just like
forever.
violated the shit out of
They cut
it.
it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end.
But that's not what...
But that game had an idea that it was actually
That's not what
trying
you
to
said
communicate.
before, you liar.
What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Kota has made.
I don't think that it
doesn't
is.
encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here.
Just
I'll
press
put the
enter
code
to
on the
fix it.
ground for you here, though, so that we can
There
move
you
on.
go. 1516 17. Oops.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first two challenges, and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Kota cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that.
Devil Tower Star.
Was I a failure for not understanding this game?
Those are all tarot cards, actually.
I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything
some
needs to
decks.
have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't. I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy.
Somehow made his
It
work
was that
my
I
own.
needed to see myself in someone else. I
So this is
needed
about you.
to be someone other than me.
I mean, that was
But he
clear from the
stopped
beginning.
and left. And it felt somehow like I had failed. Where did I screw up?
Dear Davey, thank you for into my games. I
I'm
need to
the
ask you.
reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did.
Because you got all
I
obsessed.
opened it for you.
Okay, we get it. It's hard to be a game
I
developer.
don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
100 times I think I'm making these games for you. I don't remember personal space, so it's possible I did plant
And
solutions. When I
the
work
people
somewhere.
who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, it was... I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
Yeah, you're an asshole. You're a total asshole. Yeah, seriously, fuck you, narrator. Ha! Stop adding lampposts to them. I see. So he's interpreting the game and changing it so that he can explain it better.
And then you stopped. And I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened,
Thanks, Kelly.
there was no feeling at all.
I literally do not have
Nothing.
it.
Less than nothing.
Struggling to come with new ideas not making me depressed. Low ports are just part of the process. Yeah, right? Like sometimes suffering. So okay, let's talk about the gender part of the thing too now. Like this feels like a breakup letter. You referred to Kota, I'm talking like the narrator referred to Kota as a he, but the fact that you think I'm frustrated broken says more about you than about me. I realize it doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine, you're not my problem to solve. I do hope one day it clicks to make peace with the thing you're wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
You finally see what I'm talking about. Don't say anything. So you have to, again, like put it all behind you before you can move on. Only
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work.
because I missed the fucking
because
point.
I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people
Thanks,
will
Seven
play
Secrets.
it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, Will you start making games again?
Yeah, but you're fucking doing it still. No,
I need
fuck
to feel
you.
okay with myself again. And I always
Right.
felt okay as long as I had
You
your
are
work to see
so
myself
bad
in.
at apologizing.
I mean, is something wrong with me?
Yes.
Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me.
There is.
Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just
No.
tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Well, tough shit, man. That's not... You fucking vampire. Alright. So we're out in a thing. It's like a bus station, train station. Where can we go? Yeah, train station, okay.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease. Solution.
Ooh, a castle.
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate.
Maybe if you
Wouldn't
could have
have forced
interacted
somebody
with
to
him
do
as
what
a
they
human
must.
instead of as an object, that'd be cool.
Maybe he just likes making prisons.
People who use their own emotional problems as an excuse for being shitty to other people.
Even now, the disease is telling me to
That's what I
stop.
just fucking
Don't show
said.
people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
Ooh, sand. Like, let me get straight. The game's not making me angry. The purported character of the narrator is what's frustrating me.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
Like, I like autobiographical games, and there's elements of this that are interesting to me. It's not a cry for help, though. It's
What now?
we're forgetting the frame, right? Is this like he's abusive towards this other person that he knows? And again, in the fiction, assuming that what he says is real and there is a Kota and whatever, like you can't use your own
I think I need to go.
you can't use your own problems as a excuse for being
I'm
abusive.
sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna...
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I said. Okay. God, these environments seem so familiar to me. My God, it's always so long. Oh, there's the big self-sacrifice machine at the end. We're gonna transcend the level. Yeah, right, so it's all a maze. Everything is a maze. But now we're above the maze because we've sacrificed ourselves. It's kind of cool looking.
Turn back from this cave. You said, let me prove that I'm brave. Let me keep going.
I just don't...
The cave goes for miles and miles and miles. And you're so tired, but I know that you're strong. So turn back. Turn back.
I don't get what about that was supposed to make me feel like anything but frustrated. Like what part of that I like, this is going to be my first question for anyone who's played this and had a deep emotional response. What part of that felt authentic or real or meaningful in any conceivable way? Like, it's not that the game was bad. It's just that I feel like the things that it expressed were just so on the nose and so simple and like obvious. And like, okay, I guess maybe you're supposed to feel pity for the narrator, but the narrator's a piece of shit. Right? Like, let's assume they're like in the fiction of this universe, the Kota was real and the narrator was real. The narrator never does anything to like make up for their horrifying violation of Kota's private space. They just fuck up the whole way through and then release the game, right? And so I feel like, God, like, I just, like, okay, there's like several kind of sort of narratives moving through this, right? And in one of them, like, we have the game development is a struggle, right? And like, okay, yeah, I get it. And people have external pressure on you to make things a certain way and to create in a way that they approve of. That's real, right? This other thing about wanting to make someone make their creative input or output fit your idea of them as a person, or fit your idea of yourself. You see yourself in other people's work. All of that is real. I guess that didn't feel revelatory for me in any way. Like the game was saying a lot of things that I was like, yes, this is true. Feeling sad sucks. Judging your friends is bad. Obsessing over a person based on the things they create and not actually knowing them for who they are, that sucks too. I mean, I just feel frustrated. And I felt like, I guess this is the thing. This is the whole thing for me, is that I felt like the game was violating what I consider to be a core precept of storytelling, in that it is never as effective to tell as it is to show. And I feel like the whole experience was just telling me what to think or feel. There was next to no room for interpretation in my mind. The game's themes seemed to me to be very clear and in the foreground. And I describe the Stanley Parable as being ham-fisted or on the nose, and this felt like that. It may be something that I just have to accept, that the designer of this game expresses their ideas in a way that I find very transparent. The game was not about Kota at all. The game was about the narrator. You can pick that up very quickly. I felt like there was no room for me to interpret it at all, because we were being pummeled by the narrator's overarching decisions about the game. And then even when that pulled away, even when that started to fade, we were given the narrator as a thing to stare into and to say, okay. But it was very like the narrator took over in terms of that sort of transparent clarity and was like, I am bad. I'm a bad person. I feel bad about what I did, but not enough to like learn how to apologize in a proper way. Kota was a nothing in this game. Kota might as well have not existed, which is why I think a lot of people might interpret that Kota was the designer, but that's not the point, right? Kota is a person who is harmed by the designer's need for acknowledgement, and I would like to acknowledge the designer of the game for whatever portion, because there's no way you can make a game like this and not have it be at least a little bit autobiographical. But I'd like to acknowledge that desire and a lot of those elements, I'm sure, come from a real place. I'm just saying that in the transition from the designer's place of feeling to the expression place, where we're interpreting the game, we're realizing it, we're not given a lot of room to do anything. This game is a straight line in both a literal and figurative sense, isn't it? Right? Like we get on and we get out, and we feel like, at least I'm feeling like here at the end, I feel like I was just told. It was like someone who told me, hey, I feel really bad about a thing that I did. Okay. Like, I was told a story, and I think that to me is harmful to the idea of treating this as a game, I guess. Like, it's a game in the sense that you're moving through a space and you're doing a bunch of game type things. You're interacting with it in a way you don't interact with fiction. But I feel like that's the point, right? Like, the choice to make this as a game comes from a place of, it comes from a place of wanting to tell a story. And there are different ways to tell stories, and games are one of those ways. But I feel like games require choice. And the only choice we had was to play or not play the game. Now, I'm not going to say whether it is a game or not. It's a game. I firmly believe this is a game. But I just feel like... I don't know. I just feel like it could have... I found it frustrating. I found the experience frustrating. I didn't empathize with anyone that we were presented in the game. But I also need to acknowledge, and this is super important when you're critiquing or discussing or analyzing literally anything. All right? This is very important, that my experience of this game, as with my experience with life, is different than yours. Or the person who made it. Or the people who playtested it. Or reviewers who have watched it. Or anyone. And it's my experience is different than anyone else's experience with this game. It's different than Steven's. You know? Because we're impacted by art in a personal way, whether we mean to or not. Whether it's high art, whether it's conceptual and intense, or whether it's low art, like, you know, like a knock-knock joke, right? Like, we experience things differently because of who we are, because it hit me in a place that target may not exist for anyone else, right? And so, while this is just what I feel about this game, and the reactions that I've had, it doesn't mean that I'm the only person whose validity exists, for whom an opinion is valid, right? It's just how I feel. I don't know. I guess I just don't... I guess I just don't care about anything that happened in this game in the way that I cared about what I explored in Gone Home, right? Now, they're very different. Gone Home is a lot less meta. And it didn't impact me in any meaningful way. Yeah, I mean, for me, this was not a game that's gonna go on my, like, best game of the year list. It's a game I will forget I ever played, most likely. But I played it, right? We experienced this together. Had I played it alone, it would have been a different experience. Had I never played the Stanley Parable, it would have been a different experience. Had I played it at a different time in my life, it would have been a different experience. And so, this is it. This is what we get. I'll never get to have that experience in the same way again. And so, it's interesting to sort of look at a game as... I don't know, as a moment in your life, right? I spent some time working my way through it, and I think that the commentary, like talking about this and talking about the things that are presented by it unintentionally, in my mind, are the things I find interesting about it. Why didn't I like it, right? That's more interesting to me than let's discuss the little bits and pieces of this game, right? So I don't know. Go figure. Art. Anyway, this has been me versus the Beginner's Guide. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed moving through this experience with me. I guess that's it.